in need. From the John DeVito Broadcast Center, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another broadcast of Paranormal Radio with Bob Tricek on the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network and Jack FM 89.7 WRHS FM Norwich. So sit back and enjoy Paranormal Radio. And now here he is, the king of Paranormal Radio, Mr. Robert Tricek.
Thank you, John. Thanks very much. Still the king. I haven't been demoted down to Prince, or I don't know what's after that. I don't know. Jester? Oh, geez, that's way down at the bottom there, huh? Yeah. So I haven't been demoted. So thank you, John. It's always nice doing these shows. How did your September 24th, your fire department thing?
Actually, it was wonderful. Very, very good. I think this was one of the best setups I did in a long time. I got at the cemetery at 1 minute past 4 o'clock in the morning. I drove in Rose Hill Cemetery, and by 8 o'clock I had all the equipment, all 8 speakers and microphones and everything all set up, ready to go.
John does not do paranormal investigating over there at Rose Hill. John actually sets up, he gets there early like that. He gets his own way in and out. They give him a key over there, and he lets himself in and out, and he sets all of the equipment up there and everything. He does every year. He does this memorial for the fire department because he's got this soft spot in his heart for firemen, even though he was never a fireman himself. That's why if you're ever down in the studio here, you notice all these Chicago fire pictures and that. Yeah, he's got this thing for fire, so he does this every year for them. So good. Glad that went well.
This was the 19th consecutive year that I've been doing this.
Well, we'll have to do like a cake or something for you for 20 for next year.
Yeah, that's
We'll get like a cake, and what would it be? Like in the shape of a fire truck or something? Or
whatever.
We'll do something. We'll figure something out.
It was a great day. It was a wonderful day. The weather was cooperated, and we had a large crowd there at the cemetery. Then after the services are over with, everybody goes over to the firehouse over on Clark Street, Engine 70, and they have a big buffet over there, and it was just a great, wonderful day.
Well, how come I never get invited to this buffet thing and all this?
I tell you all the time about it.
I know, I'm just messing with you, yeah. No, he just, John invites you to everything. No, I'm just messing with him there. Hey, Gabriel. Gabriel just walked into the studio here, John's assistant. Last month's show, I have to thank the guests that we had on. We had Mr. Fruitland Jackson, a blues artist. Wonderful person. I knew what I was doing bringing him on here because he had some great stories to tell. Great musician, accomplished musician, did a fine show. Thank you so much, Fruitland, for coming on last month with us. And also Mary Borowski from the Summit Park District came on, just did a bunch of announcements and that's fine. Mary does that from time to time. And also Arlene Rovner from the Brookfield Park. Is it the Park District she's with or the Recreation Center? I'm not sure which Arlene is with, but she came on and did some announcements for them. So we kind of last month got away from paranormal a little bit. There was more announcements and kind of welcome back after the summer. I took a couple of months off in the summer because I just had too many things going on and I wanted to spend some time in the pool. So I didn't do a show for the summer, but then we got back into it. But today, October 2nd, we certainly are coming back into paranormal full tilt. October 2nd, we're coming into the Halloween season here. This is the month everybody's a ghost hunter, even people that never done it before. Everybody has some sort of interest in ghosts and everything. And, of course, the people we've got on the show tonight, this is like a year-round thing for them, and for us, I should say. The folks that we've got on here tonight, Mr. Pete Crapia, someone that I met from yesterday, actually. Very short time I've known Pete, just kind of a chance encounter with him, although he thinks we've met somewhere else. Pete, actually, I have to admit, today isn't going to do, well, he'll be in here, he'll be commenting here and there, but I'm actually going to bring Pete in November. I wanted him to do a show in November because he's got a lot of stories to tell, and some of the stuff he was telling me yesterday I'm kind of interested in, and I want to do a whole show with Pete, and we'll get somebody else to come on with him. Tom Cameron, who's been here before. Welcome back to Paranormal Radio, Tom.
Hello there, Bob.
Yeah, it's always nice having you on. Yeah, we'll talk with Tom about some UFO things. Are you still at MoveOn?
Yes.
Yeah, Tom's still at MoveOn. We'll talk with him about that. And then we've got a brother team, Mr. Tom and Steve Lineweber. Gentlemen, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
That's Steve.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Bob.
And
Great
that's
to be
Tom.
here.
And then Mr. Neil Gibbons.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, geez, look at that. He's got like, I don't know, what do you got? Like a radio announcer's voice.
Yeah, and it got the face for it, too.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I've always said. I said, I'm wasting my time doing radio. I should be in front of the camera. Forget
Yeah,
that.
I
Never
told my
mind me.
dad we were doing this. He goes, man, definitely, Neil, you got the face for it, buddy.
You got a radio face.
That's right, sir.
Well, any hoot. I'm going to get started here with some announcements, some things we got going on here, and then we'll do all the announcements for you guys, too, because I know everybody has things going on here. Orland Park, next week, Tuesday, October 10th. I'm going to be talking at the Orland Park Public Library, and I'm going to do a whole program on fortune telling. History of fortune telling, like kind of from beginning to end, things I know about it. Heavy emphasis on palm reading because I do a lot of that. So we'll be doing that. We'll be doing some games and some things there with that. I take about 15 minutes for an audience warm up to do that, and then I do the program and that. So we're having a little fun with that, and you'll learn something with that program. That will be Tuesday, October 10th at 7 p.m. They called me up today to confirm that I'm going, and I told them, yes, indeed, I will be there, not to worry. If you do want to call me and get some more details from the library about that, 708-428-5115. It's 708-428-5115. That's their phone number there. Friday, October 13th, with these gentlemen here, Graveside Tours. They are running a tour, which we're going to talk about more about that, but that's going to be on October the 13th tour. So if you're looking for something for Friday, October the 13th, great time for a tour. Graveside Paranormal, we will get their phone number here, and we'll give you more details about that as we get on. Their phone is 708-533-3073. Talk to Mr. Neil Gibbons. He usually answers the phone. He did for me. He picks it up real fast. You must walk around with your phone all the time.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, he does that. But then when you take reservations or something, how do you know how many people you're booking?
What we do is we use the Eventbrite. Actually, my daughter, she's the one who was, because she's much smarter than I am at certain things.
Ah.
She likes to
Must
tell
take
me,
after your
she
wife.
She loves to tell me that all the time. And she was able to set up the Eventbrite thing for us. So
okay.
She does a great job for us.
So we'll be talking a little more about that with Neil. We'll be getting into that more with that one. He'll give you more details about that. October 14th, Saturday. So it's a tour with the... actually, the 13th, I'm kind of doing... I won't be there, like, officially on the tour. I'll just be guesting with you and doing a little bit of stuff here and there. So I'll be on the bus with them, too, doing a little bit with them. October 14th, Saturday, I will be doing a tour with the Summit Park District, and that will be kind of the same type of thing. Cemeteries and some of the paranormal hotspots and things like that we'll be going to, and it's sort of a history, mystery type tour thing. We give them lunch with it, too, and that. And their phone is 708-496-1012. It's a day tour, because a lot of places I like to take you during the day so we can get into them. October 15th, same tour again. We're doing that one. That was with the Elsa Park District, so that'll be a repeat of that tour. Their phone is 708-389-1003. So we got a few different tours here. 708-389-1003 for Alsip, 708-496-1012 for Summit. Thursday, October the 19th, 6:30, I will be at the Justice Library, and I'm doing a different program there. Ghosts and Paranormal in the Bible. Conversations with some few people and here and there along the line for the last couple of years, and they says, you're into all this paranormal and ghosts and all this stuff like that and everything, and you go to church and you do Bible studies and you do all this, and how do you do that? It kind of contradicts itself. I said, are you kidding me? I says, the Bible's loaded with this stuff. So I got interested in that and came up with a program for that, so I'm going to be doing that over at the Justice Library. Kind of a tough program to do, though, I have to admit, because I wanted to do something non-offensive. I didn't want to offend anybody, because we're talking about religion and the Bible here and that. But it's a nice little program, and I think people will be happy with that. And so that will be at 6:30 in the evening on Thursday, October 19th, at the Justice Library. That's real close to Resurrection Cemetery there, right across the street from them, as a matter of fact. And their phone is 708-496-1790. If you want to give them a call and maybe reserve yourself a seat for that one, 708-496-1790. Saturday, October 21st, back with the Elsa Park District again, running another tour with them, and that will be the paranormal type tour bus thing, going to the different locations and things. And there again, their number 708-389-1003 for that. And then Thursday, October 26th, I'm going back to the Orland Park Library. They're having me back twice this year. Usually I do one for them. This year they got me twice. Maybe they couldn't get anybody else. I don't think so. They usually book some nice programs over there. So Thursday, October 26th, Haunted Bars and Pubs. Would kind of tie in with you guys, because your tour, you do a lot of bars and pubs.
Yes, sir.
Although I don't really cover any of those. I think I do the Irish Legends on this program, but that's about it. All the other ones, I do different stuff, like downtown ones. And that will be at Orland Park Library. And there again, 708-428-5115. 708-428-5115 if you want to contact Orland Park and maybe get a little more details on that one. And then it brings me down to the end of the Halloween season, October 31st. I do palm readings over at Chuck's restaurant, over on 79th and Natchez, over in Burbank. They're right across from the Burbank police station there. I've been with them for a number of years there. It's kind of one of my things. I have a contract with them. I go on Halloween and read palms there, and I'll be there for the evening, usually around 5 o'clock till 9 or 10 in the evening, depends how busy it is. So if you want to do that after trick-or-treating hours are over. Stop by Chuck's, have a little dinner with them, and get your palm read. We'll talk about that. Okay, now, that's enough announcements. That was 15 minutes of announcements. Tom Cameron.
Yes.
Welcome back to I'm going to talk with Tom first, since Tom's scheduled first, so we'll do that way, and we'll get to everybody here. Welcome back to Paranormal Radio, sir. It's been a couple of years.
It was last year that I was doing the Paranormal Conference. So
Oh, that's right. You were here for that. We were talking about it. Right,
we were
right.
doing
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
But this year we're not doing the Paranormal Conference. I'm into an entirely different aspect of it now. So
Yeah, Tom called me up and says, "Can I come back on your show? I've got something to plug." And Tom, you're welcome to come back anytime you like. What do you want to do? What do you want to talk about? And he told me over the phone, he does, "Go ahead, tell us what you're doing."
well, we're doing a national research program into the DNA of people that self-identify as abduction people.
We're talking UFOs now.
Right, exactly. People that self-identify as having had abduction experiences with UFOs. We're going to be doing DNA on them to see if there's any kind of similarities amongst the DNA of the people that are having these types of experiences. They've already done a lot of research into blood types, and they found that a number of the people that have had abduction experiences are Rh negative, way past the normal. Rh negative in the population on the whole is only 15%, but amongst abductees it's over 80%.
So now this is a program that you're doing on this?
We're actually going to be we have a website where the people will be able to purchase the DNA kits similar to the ones that you have, like from Ancestry DNA or Origins DNA or things of that nature. They'll be able to purchase it through us at a discount to what it normally is. They submit it to the DNA company, and then when they get their results, we'll already have a questionnaire filled out by them. We'll be getting the results from the person, and then we'll be crunching the numbers to see if there's any kind of anomalous types of things. One of the things that we're looking for is unexpected genetic codes. Like the thing that prompted us to get into this is my background is almost exclusively Scots-Irish, and I've done extensive genealogy to show that this is exactly where my family history comes from. When I did my DNA, the first one was my grandmother was the only immigrant that we had in the family, a recent immigrant, which I knew. She was from the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and that showed up. The second one turned up Mexico City. The third one turned up Peru, and the fourth one turned up Iraq.
You kind of covered the globe there, huh?
Well, and that was one of the things that we said. It's like, okay, that's 4 different continents, and the first 4. Not only that, it's across racial lines, and travel, obviously, in bygone days wasn't as extensive as it is now. So how would you get genetic codes from 4 different from 4 different continents and across biracial lines? That, again, that was just not really something that was done. And
so now this is a kit. Now there's a website set up for this, or a phone number they call? They want to do this?
There's going to be a website that's set up. It's under construction right now. It's abductiondna.com.
And anybody can, if you want to do this, anybody can do this, right?
Absolutely. Like I say, the kit is actually coming to them at a discounted rate. It's from Home DNA. It's the company that does all of the DNA testing for all the television shows, all the Baby Daddies and all the rest of that. They're doing the most extensive DNA kit that they've got. So normally it's $200. We've got it for $150. Plus, then we also have a questionnaire that the person is going to be filling out.
So what you're basically looking for is people that have had some sort of like you said, an encounter.
Right.
An abduction or...
Right. People that have had, especially people that have had more than one or have had serial encounters, and especially if they know that they have family members that are involved in it as well, if their parents or if their children, grandchildren have had abduction experiences, because obviously there's something that seems to be of interest in the genetic line of these people. So maybe if we do a DNA breakdown, we can find out what the pattern is that they're looking for, and be able to validate for people that are having these abduction experiences. Yeah, it's
Now, abduction, you mean somebody that's actually had an alien encounter, or just someone that's plain and simple spotted a UFO, seen one?
no. People that have actually had interactions, close encounters of the fourth kind.
Okay,
you
so
know.
they've actually had an interaction with some aliens from...
Right, some
Okay.
being that isn't us.
How many people, I'm asking you, I know you're MUFON, tell us what MUFON is.
Right, Mutual UFO Network.
The Mutual UFO Network. Tom is with that organization, and now I have to ask you this. I'm
Sure.
sure a lot of people listening would have this. How many people have you talked to that have actually had this experience?
I've talked to quite a few, and the problem is that it's also including me. And the reason that I got started into the DNA project is it's also my granddaughter.
So you've been abducted by an alien?
Yes.
You were?
Yes, I have all of the scars, both psychological and physical, to prove it.
Can I ask you? Can I go into a little more detail about this?
Sure.
Okay. Where did this happen?
It happened in a number of places. Couple of the.
So it's not always the same spot. You don't go
no,
there and okay.
no. I mean, they
And you've had more than one when you say a couple of places.
I've had extensive. I remember, I believe, a total of 8 of them. But
Okay, if you don't remember them, how do you know? How do you know you've had them?
well, that's what I said. I remember about 8 of them, but I suspect that I've had more than that. Because when I found out that my granddaughter, who at the time was 4, the way that I found out that we had another encounter with them is she was drawing aliens with her crayons, and she had spent the night at my house, and I asked her what was she drawing, and she's like, "Well, I'm drawing aliens." And I tried to kid her out of it. I'm like, the big furry ones like Chewbacca. She's like, "No, Grandpa, the little gray ones. They took us last night. Don't you remember?" And I went, okay. I guess I got to do more research into this.
Yeah. So is this? So she tells you, don't you remember? So it's obviously something you were involved with also.
Yes. Yeah. Because
But when after this happened, you have no. See, I'm having a little trouble.
I have.
You don't remember this.
I have no memory of that.
But
encounter
that's the
at all.
part I'm confused on. If it happens, and it's happened, and now she knew it happened, and she told you about it. You have
Right.
no recollection of it.
I had
How do you
none.
know it happened?
Well, I'm going to have to take her word on it for that particular.
Okay, this
case.
one you've got a witness. You got your granddaughter. But
Right.
one of these happens another time, and you have no. You don't.
Well,
you know.
no. Like I said, on some of them I do have memories.
Okay.
Some of them I had memories that I had just natural memories. Some of them were actually recovered through hypnotherapy through a psychologist. The ones that I had recovered through a psychologist actually lined up with other events or missing things in my life that it's like, okay, well, that explains that. For example, when I was in Boy Scouts, I was 12. We were going down to Rantoul Air Force Base. Now from where I was at, it was a 2.5-hour trip straight down, one shot, no on the expressway, straight down I-57. We got there 2.5 hours late. The entire Boy Scout group got there 2.5 hours late, and we hadn't taken any kind of tour or trip or anything off of the expressway. But we did remember seeing an odd light around a cornfield about halfway down, and then we saw the light take off. So so we had this missing gap of time and an unexplained missing gap of why we should be arriving at the Air Force Base late. Well, the hypnotherapist didn't realize that, or she didn't have that information. But when she put me into hypnosis, it came out that was an abduction experience. That they had actually that was the first time they'd actually conducted extensive medical examinations on me, and that's when a couple of the scars popped up.
Ah, okay. Fascinating stuff. John, Mr. John DeVita, will we be okay running a little longer with this show today? Okay, great. I have to ask John if we're going to, because we're going to today. I could tell already. We're going to be running longer with this show.
Sorry about that.
No, not at all. No. Don't be sorry about that. I just want to make sure we get to everybody
Right,
here, and we
right.
got a full boat today. But Fascinating stuff. So that's the way this works. So what you're basically trying to do is you're trying to connect with other people that have had the same type of experience and trying to make some connection through DNA.
Right.
See the similarities here.
Right.
So it's not just people drawing pictures or making sculptures with mashed potatoes.
No.
It's
No, we want to have some sort of, as I said, the fact that we have this this.
And then what do you hope to prove? I mean, when you do, say, how many people you hope how many people you can get? But say you get a response of maybe 50 people to this. What are you hoping to actually find out from this?
I'm thinking that one of the things that is going to pop up is when people then start thinking that they may have had abduction experiences. If their DNA lines up with the parameters that seem to keep popping up associated with them, then that gives them an extra bit of evidence to believe themselves. I mean, one of the most horrible things about this is you're so isolated because you can't.
Oh, you're not really. You think you are when these things happen, and I'm sure paranormal and all this. We can all vouch for this. You think you're the only one having this,
right?
And then you find out, no, there's a whole slew of people out there with this. So
right.
Yeah.
Well, but
see, the thing that it concerns me with this though is like now you found out about a lot of this through psychoanalysis. You weren't even aware. This is something that happened to you in childhood.
Yes.
You weren't even aware of until 40 years, 50 years, whatever later.
But it's been continuous. I mean, it's not like it stopped at some point.
Mm-hmm.
When I was trying to put the project together, the night before I had my conference call with the people from the DNA company. I have a roommate that lives with me, and the next day he asked me, he's like, "Did you have a fight with somebody on the phone or something?" I'm like, "No, what are you talking about?" He said, "Well, there was all kinds of screaming and yelling and banging I heard coming from, I live downstairs in the basement." He's like, it sounded like you were fighting with somebody. And when I came home that day, two of the shelves from my bookshelf had been knocked out onto the floor. And then as I'm checking myself out, I had 2 additional scars. So it's like, okay.
Okay, so you've got some poltergeist activity, and you've talked to a man that's got some psychic ability on the phone with the.
No, actually,
so you're just surrounded by this stuff, Tom.
Actually,
you're just.
What I think actually had happened. No. Like I said, he lives with me, so he heard it firsthand. And I think what had happened is they had made their presence known, trying to let me know about their displeasure about it. That they didn't particularly like the idea of me investigating this stuff. I mean, you're the first radio announcer there and radio personality that I've had a chance to discuss this with, but I was scheduled with somebody else, and
well, how rude is that?
Well,
you couldn't get him, so you came to me. Well, now I see how you operate. So there. What was it? A big name here that you had first?
Yeah, actually, it was.
Okay.
But he ended up in the hospital 3 hours
before
I get him,
the
interview.
You get him, of course. I'm messing with you. You're welcome to come back here anytime you want.
But yeah, he ended up in the hospital 3 hours before the interview.
Oh my!
Suddenly taking very, very ill.
Geez, I hope nothing happens to me.
We're going to keep you well. I'm hoping.
Yeah, we're doing the interview, so it went well so far. So
yeah, but it hasn't been broadcast yet.
Do you think if I didn't invite these other gentlemen on, that something would have happened? It was only you and me. Or?
I can only speculate. We've rescheduled with the other guy. He's finally out of the hospital, so we've rescheduled with the other guys. So
what was his ailment? What happened to him?
Muscular sclerosis. All of a sudden he had a huge setback and.
So he's had it.
Yes.
Okay.
But it was a sudden setback, and they weren't sure he was coming out.
Oh, my. Well, maybe when he's well and things get back on foot with him, we'll say a prayer for him.
Indeed.
What's his name?
Rob McConnell.
Rob McConnell. We'll have to say a little prayer for Rob McConnell there for a speedy recovery. And when you get well, Rob, do the interview with Tom.
Indeedy.
But always remember, I got him first. Tom, I'm going to take a break from you for a minute. We're going to get these other gentlemen into the conversation. Okay, some new friends of mine, some new acquaintances here. Mr. Neil Gibbons.
Hello.
Who I actually met first.
Yes.
And then a couple of his associates, Tom and Steve Lineweber. And they are with, you're with Graveside Tours. Do you also have a paranormal investigative team?
Yes.
What's the name of the team?
Graveside Paranormal.
And Graveside Paranormal, Graveside Tours.
It's mainly the 3 of us right now.
Okay.
And also my brother Mike. He's come on. And you saw him when we went to Bourbon Street. You met Mike.
Met Mike. Yeah, I met him. Yeah.
You met brother Mike.
Mm-hmm. I actually got the way I got a hold of Neil, and this is all like in the last 2 weeks, I'd say. I went to Bourbon Street for lunch. I had a doctor appointment myself. As the appointment, I stopped at Bourbon Street for some lunch there because I like the food they have there and everything like that. And this is a little free advertising for Bourbon Street, so next time I go in there, I'd like you guys to give me a little kickback on this. So I mess around with people like this. You don't have to give me nothing. They probably won't even hear this show unless you tell them about it.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway,
nice
I saw
people.
your poster hanging up there about the tours. And so I called up to inquire about that. Not so much about the tour, but just to inquire about you, what you do, and this kind of thing like that. And we just kind of clicked. You know, with certain people, you just kind of click, and that's how it was with Neil. We kind of clicked with that. He invited me to do a couple of their investigations, kind of palled around on that. I went as a guest on one of their tours. They do a fine job on their tours, I have to admit that. So if you're looking for a fun tour for the Halloween season, fun as well as informative, you might want to consider doing one of their tours. And they do them right out of the Bourbon Street there, 115 Bourbon Street there over in Marionette Park. The bus comes, they pick you up, and you go do some bars, and you do some other places of interest, and some places that have some paranormal connections, and then also to some of the well-known haunts around the south side. I won't give them away because I don't want to give the tour away here and that what they do. But kind of hit it off, and they're also very serious investigators, too. They do that. And then he also has with him Steve Lineweber. And Steve, you're the tech guy.
Yeah, I'm the paranormal tech on the team. Yep.
If I may, we call him Steve Egon Lineweber.
Yeah, I've earned
Steve
a
Egon?
He is
nickname of Egon now.
He is our Egon.
And what are you, Tom?
I guess I'm Venkman then, huh?
You would be Venkman,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
If there was that,
So you guys are the Ghostbusters.
we're something.
Okay.
We're definitely something, I can tell you that.
Got it.
Bob.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So this is kind of cool. Okay. I asked this question to people. What got you into paranormal? They ask me this all the time.
You know, like I said before, something happened.
What got you
when
into paranormal, and can you do it in 5 minutes?
Oh, sure, I can do it. I can do it in 3, Bob.
No, I'm
Is it-
messing with you. Take the time
Is
you
it,
need it.
when I was young, something happened in my life when I was younger, something that I saw, and I saw a thing, what they call like an imp. It's like a lower class demon. And as a child, it made me wonder what was that, what scared me, because it sure scared out of me. And you wonder why, what is this, and why is it here? And of course, as a child, you're going to just pull your covers over your head and hope that it's not going to be there when you pull it over again, when you take them back over.
Well, it's
Sure.
under the bed.
Right, maybe it's under the bed.
Or it's in the closet.
Reach out, or in the fridge. Never
Yeah.
know. So, after that, I started wondering, and always wondering, what are these things? And as I got older, I would start reading books or watching shows, like that show Sightings that came out back in the day on Fox. I used to love watching that. It was every Friday night.
Well, this is a fairly recent show. I don't know how old you are, but this is a fairly recent show.
Well, I'm 46.
Okay.
And that show came out in the 90s.
So, it's good 20
Yeah.
years, 20.
To
Oh,
me,
so all right, you
I
would have
guess
been.
to me, I guess that seems like a while
yeah,
ago.
yeah.
But I used to enjoy watching that and other shows like that. And I used to always listen to Coast AM. Me and Tom here. From
I think that show is still on. Isn't it like at
my
midnight
God,
or
yeah,
something?
But
it
when
comes on?
it
Yeah.
used to be on a different radio station, and it used to be on every night from 12 to almost 4 o'clock every night. And I used to, at my job, at like a lunch hour or something like that, we would listen to it. Or sometimes when I'm driving home, if I get off work early, I'd listen to it. I just thought oh my God, this is my show, man. I go, they're reaching out to me and just saying, hey, listen to us. And I just found it so informative, so interesting. It was such a nice show. And then that's how I started to build up more interest. And mainly my thing was more of a on and off kind of relationship with paranormal.
Sure.
Just in the past couple of years, we've been getting more into it.
Okay.
And so we're trying to reach out.
Yeah, actually, Neil and I, we work the graveyard shift in Cook County at the jail.
How appropriate.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we see a lot over there as well. But I think when Neil and I first started working together, I was actually listening to Coast. And he walked by, and we just started talking from there and really clicked. And
So listening to the show, you thought, this is something I'd like to do. I want to study this further. Was it personal experiences you had also, or just more a curiosity?
more of a curiosity
Okay,
for
and that
me.
kind of pulled you into it. Okay, well, that whatever works. If that does it, that's okay. Many people older now, of course, 60 years old. Tom, I don't know how old you are, but
63.
yeah. So we're like Tom and I are Tom Cameron. And I are about the same age.
Right.
Well, when we were kids, what was on? We didn't have any of these real shows. We had The Outer Limits. We had the Creature Features. We had all the fictitious stuff.
One step beyond.
One step beyond all that
Yeah.
stuff like that. So I would watch these things, and it would get me interested in these. And it would also for me just experiences I had myself that I had no explanation for. stuff that happened, a dream, something that happened, or a deja vu. Geez, I've done this before, this kind of thing like that.
Right.
Bumping into somebody and say, I met you someplace before, no, we've never met before. Yeah, I know who you are, and you know something about them, and they're surprised that you know it about them. So this kind of stuff like that, got me interested in it, because like you said, in the day, we didn't have these shows like they do now. People ask me, do you watch these shows? And I don't. Not that I have anything against them. I just don't watch them. Well, big reason would be I don't have cable. And then another reason is a lot of times I think they're giving people the wrong impression. Now, you guys are investigators. You know what's involved with this. It's an 8-hour thing.
Right.
Well, the other day you did the little investigation at Bourbon Street. That was like a 3-hour or 4-hour thing.
Yeah, we were.
That's actually very short.
Yeah, we would actually we had to improvise.
Yeah.
Because we were given a limited time.
Right.
And sure, we did go a little slow in the beginning, but you want to know what? We got ourselves together and we got it done. We got
See,
the
and
job done.
that's the point I was trying to make was that's why I have kind of a criticism about these shows, although it's really not really their fault. But it's an hour show, and in the hour time,
Right.
you've solved everything, you've done it, and you get people that go out there and think, oh, great, I'm going to put a microphone out there, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to have all these voices on it. I'm going to have all this videotape and all this stuff, and I'm going to have all these things.
Right.
And,
Like,
yeah.
take, for instance, yesterday, you, me, and Steve, we were all out at Bachelor's Grove.
And this
And
gentleman
we're-
here, too, Pete
and
Crapia.
Pete,
Yes.
We didn't
Go ahead.
introduce Pete because like I said, I'm kind of keeping Pete on the back burner here because I want to do a whole show with him, but he'll be putting a little bit into this show too.
And then we had the chakra box out there with Steve here. And
Hold that thought just
Go
1
ahead.
minute. We've got to take a break here, and we will be right back with Paranormal Radio. Please stick with us. We got a lot more to cover tonight.
You're listening to Paranormal Radio with Bob Trisek from the John DeVito Broadcast Center on Jack-O-Lantern FM 89.7 WRHS FM Norwich and the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network on Tuesday, October the 3rd, the year 2017. And this is Jack-O-Lantern 89.7 WRHS FM Norwich, Illinois. And now, friends, back to Paranormal Radio and Mr. Bob Trisek.
Thank you, John. Thanks very much. Thanks. So welcome back to Paranormal Radio. If you haven't been listening to some of the gentlemen that we've got on here tonight, if you just kind of tuned in with us, Mr. Tom Cameron talking about UFOs and experiences with that, Mr. Steve Lineweber, Mr. Tom Lineweber, paranormal investigators, Neil Gibbons, and then Mr. Pete Crapia, who we haven't really gotten into the conversation yet, but we're going to get him in. I'm kind of reserving Pete.
Sorry, I'm
We
kind
got
of quiet.
Yeah, we got Pete in the reserve here. Yeah. So just before we took the break, Neil, you were hitting on.
Well, you were talking about how long the process takes into a 1-hour show or something. Well, like the three of us went out yesterday, and of course, Steve goes home and he goes and goes over his chakra box, all the video that we took, and it takes a while. It takes a moment, and I'm gonna tell you, he's got an excellent ear for what he's hearing. I think it's because he uses it so often. You might be using it in the shower as you get out, maybe in the kitchen making a bagel. Or
No, I
something.
don't want to electrocute myself. So
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do it in the shower
You'll be
now.
on the next tour.
Right. I don't want to be the next tour guest.
But he takes his time with this stuff, and he does an excellent job for us. I couldn't ask for such a better guy to be working with, as well as Tom as well, because the knowledge that Tom has of certain things as well. It's just and then you all just correlate together, and it just really does well. And we're, like I said before, when we were talking before we were online, we were on the radio here. It's just something fun that we like to do.
Sure, yeah, it's a labor of love.
It's
It's something you
just
enjoy
what it is.
doing, and you do
Yeah.
it. That's the way it should be. What you're doing, you should do it because you like doing it, especially
Right.
something like this, and you're serious about it, and that's a good thing. Steve, you're the tech guy.
Yes.
Yeah, I got to ask you. Okay, I've had many people on this show that have all brought the boxes on, and I've listened to these voices, and they've built them, and they've bought them, and they've come from Planet X. I don't know where they get these boxes from. They come from everywhere, and I'm like, why do these things always speak with the
Well, what we're doing with these boxes is
I know the answer, but I sometimes
Right.
play the devil's advocate here, for
Sure.
people that don't know. So I want you to.
Right. So when we're taking audio from a device like a PSB7 radio or with an IP app like Spiritus or any of the number.
Okay, let us know what that is. A lot of people may not
Oh.
know what you just said there.
Sure.
You're talking in ancient Egyptian.
So radio is how we get the sound. And a PSB7 is a type of spirit box. It's a little radio that just scans through the different stations. And you're going to get a lot of white noise in it. So you're going to hear like, and then an utterance of a word. You have different settings in which you can turn this on, so you can go through 1/10 of a second to, half a second, and you're going to hear utterances and parts of words. But it's going very quickly, and on these boxes that you have, you're going to hear a lot of static. You're going to hear a lot of white noise. The idea is that the spirits can take that white noise, and they can take the sound coming out, and they can manipulate that. What we've done is we've put together a box that takes those sounds and filters out the static. So you're still going to hear that short sound that you're talking about. The idea, the theories that I've heard and read about, and again, I wouldn't call myself an expert on this yet. But
Well, you built the box, right?
Built the box.
Built the box shoes. I would consider that somewhat of an expert.
Well, again, a lot of the knowledge comes through people like Steve Huff out on YouTube. Great. If anybody's interested in communicating and the kind of work that we're doing in terms of the audio, Steve Huff is a great person. I recommend going out there and looking at that. The sound it takes energy to form words from the sound, and so you'll often hear, like in the video that we posted from Bachelor's Grove, we posted that up on our Facebook page, you can hear all this. You'll hear when we're asking questions, there'll be sentences, but you have to wait for it. There's a little bit of energy that has to happen to form one word, and then there's a pause, and there's another word. As you watch that video, you'll actually hear that happening.
Okay.
A lot of things we miss in real time, so you have to play it back. You have to listen to it. I'm not sure if there's any EVPs coming off of the recording, or if this is straight coming out of the box. But when we ask for names, we get names. When we ask for a number, like how many people are here, we get a number. So there's something that seems like we're communicating. It's almost, we're having a conversation. And so it's really fascinating to me.
Yeah, it is to me too. But like I said, you have these conversations, so you say you have these words, and you got to kind of put them all together to make a sentence out of it. But my question is, why are these people, if they're taking the time to visit us from the other realm and come back to us, why aren't they just communicating us to in a way that's a little more clearer? Why can't we just put a cassette recorder out there and record them, and here we are, okay, yeah, my name is Joe Brown, and I'm here, and I've been in here for the last 50 years, and it's nice here, and I like it, and so and so is my partner, and we're going dancing tonight or whatever. Why aren't they just talking like in a way that we were capable of understanding? Why is it always this? And we got to really go back and listen to this and detect it, almost like a Sherlock Holmes type thing.
And that's where I think like expert knowledge has to come in, and that's why I say I'm not an expert.
And that trained ear type thing.
Yeah.
Too.
Well, how are the sounds being manipulated? How is the the static and the white noise being used to create an EVP? We don't know. And I think there's a lot of science. I think there's a lot of things that are left to explore and discover. That's why I call myself not an expert in the field, because I don't know why it takes what we're doing to actually hear a message. But some people have clear audio experience where they're hearing a word.
Right.
And I think, Neil, you had one coming out of Bachelor's Grove.
Oh, that was unbelievable.
Some people hear these without even using the devices.
Right,
They
so-
just hear this.
Yep.
Yeah, if I could, Bob.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yesterday when we were leaving, me, Steve, and Bob, we were at Bachelor's Grove Cemetery, and we're trying to cross the street, and we were near the median, and we saw there was no more traffic, so we started crossing, and I'm on the left side, Bob's in the middle, Steve's on the right, and I thought Steve said, "Neil," and I go like this, I go, "What?" And all of a sudden Bob goes, "What was that?" I go, "That was me saying what?" But I heard in my right ear, "Neil," and I thought it was Steve saying that, and I said, I started laughing. I started laughing. I was like, "This is unbelievable, man!" But once again, they're going to pick and choose when they're going to do something, how they're going to do something. When it happens, it happens. You cannot do it like when he's talking about the spirit box or the chakra box. You cannot command something to come out.
That
So
does
it has
seem
to
to be the
flow.
way
Okay, but
it
now-
is out at Bachelor's Grove.
Yeah, that's a
This
very
is
playful.
this is Pete going into the
Yes,
conversation
hello,
here.
everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does seem like that. Like I've seen some videos of different people out there. There just seems such a strong power there of something that's going on that people are able to communicate. And then you see videos of people saying that they seen something.
When there's nothing there.
Right, when they say there's nothing there. But some things are not showing up on videos or something like that.
Okay, but now ghost hunting's been
Yeah.
around for probably since
you
the dawn
can
of
talk.
time.
You can talk all the way back to
Yeah.
was Houdini when he used to do that. He
Well,
tried to,
it goes back even
Yeah.
before that. And people didn't have all this technology and this equipment then, yet they still did this. They were able to do this. They were
Right.
able to hunt ghosts. They were able to do this. How did they do this? He did it through a medium.
Right.
Someone that could actually communicate. We still have these people around.
Yes.
We do have seances. If you've
Yes.
ever been to a seance?
No, I've never been
Never
to a
been to
seance.
one?
No, sir.
Well, when you do go, you're going to find out they're very different from what you've seen on TV and from what you've seen in the movies. They're
Oh, I'm
very
sure.
different, very different experience. And they claim to have this communication, and these spirits come in and they're speaking through the medium. But the medium is speaking in a way that we can understand exactly what they're saying.
Right.
You know, the medium says, okay, there's a man here, and he's got brown shoes on, and he's wearing a plaid shirt, and he's got a cigar in his mouth, and he's got, and his name is such and such, and they have this, and he wants to tell you this, and they tell you what the message is and that. So that's what I'm saying. Now, they can communicate with these entities and with these people, no problem. We can hear everything they're saying perfectly in that. But we need all this equipment and all this other stuff, and yet we have to kind of, it's garbled, and we have to decipher
Sure.
it. Did you bring something with you tonight?
I
You
did
brought
bring,
your equipment.
I did bring the Chakra Spirit portal
Yeah.
box.
Do you got something on there we can hear?
Well, I mean, I could plug it in and everything.
Yeah, because you saw the video that we put up today.
No, I didn't see the video.
Oh, you didn't see the
No, I
video?
didn't see the video. Of
Okay.
course, I was there yesterday, so I saw what was going
I'll be
on
more than happy.
with you. Yeah.
I'll be more than happy to. Will this be able to pick up, John?
Can we patch it in? Or
I have a jack with me. I don't know if
Is
this helps.
Gabriel still here? No, he left. Oh, Gabriel would know how to.
Yeah, I don't know. But
Correct.
if we can, we can. If we can't, we can't.
Okay.
And that's understandable.
I
But
think-
what it was? Go ahead, Steve.
I think that in today's...
I mean, I'm not. I hope you don't.
Oh, no.
I'm not putting you
No,
on the
no,
spot
no.
here.
We don't mind being put on the
not at all.
spot. You got a
No.
question? We're
I'm
going to
just
try to
saying,
answer.
these are questions that people that
Yeah.
listen to
Right.
the show will ask.
So I think it's interesting, your question about technology and where we have people who can actually do this, right? I may not be one of the people who can do that or have that ability, but with all the technology around, we're seeing and being able to experience things with that technology. I have no idea which is the better way to go about it. There probably is no better way they go
And
with
you
the technology
also-
or not.
Yeah, and
it's
So
just something
basically,
that I
what the
can use.
technology does just open the field up to more
Yeah.
people that may not have had access to it before. And-
Remember,
have-
this is all to me, anyways. And I'm sorry, Steve.
No, it's okay.
Is that this is all still very experimental stuff.
Right.
Of course.
I
Right.
mean, we've never really ever had it where we've had full real sentences. I mean, we've had it where, like, it sounds like to me sometimes, and correct me if I'm wrong, Steve, especially the video that you put up today,
Right.
is it sound like 3 or 4 words will connect, but they'll be like maybe a half a second apart.
Right.
And you're wondering if they're trying to flow, but also remember, it's cycling through a system of radio, so it's going to come up different the way it's being said. Does that make sense to you, Steve?
Yeah, it does. And, in that video, we kept hearing that there were 10
Yeah,
of them.
yes.
And we kept hearing different voices come out, but it strung along in a sentence. It's almost as if they were collectively talking to us and forming a sentence.
Right. And then the other things that we were finding is we go to the back end of Bachelor's Grove, over on the south corner near Gaelic Park over there. One of our sponsors. Sorry, Bob. So what happens is that we start hearing this dominating voice, and then we would hear a growl. When you were out there with us, you could hear there was a voice of a dominating voice, but it seemed like it was stronger when me and Steve were out there a week before.
Okay.
Because we just want to get all our bearings before we start the tours and everything like that. So, and that's one of the things that we do on our tours. We try to do some kind of investigation for you. It's not a very long investigation, but we want
they
to
get
give
the feel
people
for it. Maybe somebody that's never experienced
We want to
this,
just
they
open
get
people's
kind of feel for
eyes
what
and
goes
ears
on,
and their
right.
minds a little
Yeah,
bit.
and it's a good idea.
And you
I like
don't
that,
have
yeah.
to believe everything, but it is.
Tom, you got something to say? This is
Well,
Tom Cameron, not
ahead,
Tom Lineweber. We're
One
going to
of the-
get you into this conversation here too. Again, we got to get you talking.
But also, one of the things that may be affecting the ability to string a speech along like we normally have it is every dogma on the face of the earth, when they talk about the afterlife, says time doesn't matter over there.
Right.
So if time doesn't matter, they don't have the same rhythm that we do, because rhythm wouldn't have any meaning to them. So a cadence in a particular speech pattern wouldn't have any relevance to them.
Right. Well, I would say it's probably...
And this again is a theory. We don't
Right,
know if it's
right.
not a fact.
Other
written in
people
stone
do
anywhere,
share
but
that theory. I know some
Yeah.
experimenters out
Yeah.
there in Florida doing the same thing. So yeah, you're not alone.
Yeah.
And then you got, like I was telling Pete actually yesterday, I said to him about the stone tape theory, based on timeline hauntings, residual hauntings. And Tom knows about these, is that either through traumatic or dramatic things that happens in that person's life. Maybe it'd be a murder or something that other traumatic other than that. Somehow lime and quartz and even rust has been known that it's almost like a record player. Now, could it be that certain places just keep going over and over again? Yeah. But then you also have to think about your portal hauntings that are on a different plane that also come in at maybe a certain time or something like that. Like you would say, Tom, about portal hauntings or something opening up in a portal like a spaceship, a UFO,
Absolutely.
correct?
Absolutely.
Right. Would it be maybe because of maybe some kind of sound? Maybe it's or a moment in something, a rhythm or something like that causes these
Right
things?
conditions in the atmosphere,
right
the right
conditions,
weather,
yeah.
the right person
Right.
that they want to
Right
communicate
vibrations?
with.
Right.
Everything
Something.
clicks, and then
the material goods, like you were saying, around them are also going to be a significant factor. I mean, one of the things that I've known from ghost hunter friends of mine is that if you have a large building built of Lamont limestone,
Right.
it's almost guaranteed
Oh, the
to
classic
be haunted.
Lamont, yeah.
you
Right.
know,
And those are some cool buildings, man. I mean, I love going through that place.
You know.
I would love to be able to go in there and do one of the
yeah,
one
the
of our
water tower
investigators.
and the Beverly Mansion,
The
and,
Gibbons
yeah,
castle.
and surprisingly, the water tower survives the fire.
Yes,
Everything else around it
Isn't
is,
that odd?
Yeah,
That
mhm.
is weird. And then you have your other effects. That you have your water, okay. And when you have all these conduits all together, like take for instance Willow Springs, Illinois, you have the I&M Canal, you have limestone, you have quartz, you have ley lines. They're up and down Archer Avenue. Oh my God, you're just like putting together a cauldron of just, hey, let's just see something paranormal.
You haven't been to. We talked a little bit about this. You haven't
Yeah.
been to New Orleans.
No, sir.
When you go, you're going to love it.
I-
because-
you know
and
what?
there again too with the
Yeah,
water connection,
yeah.
they're almost an island
Exactly.
practically. You know, there's
It's
so much
amazing
water there.
to
Yeah,
me,
mhm.
the things that
and that's
happen
a
because
that's a
of these-
big hub of paranormal
Oh,
activity.
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, yeah. Mhm.
You know, and also like the people. You know, we had Mandy over at Bourbon Street who once
She connected
started,
very well. You see,
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
and
Certain
that's a
people,
person
yeah, mhm.
sometimes. Like
Yeah.
Mandy.
Neil gets up there, and Neil was talking, and well, like when we went around backstage with the thing, and nothing. It's kind of just dead. You know, he's talking, and he's trying his, he's making the effort, asking the questions, and trying to get some responses, and nothing. And a girl, Mandy, that's an employee there, she comes up when we go into the kitchen. She starts talking. Boom! The thing is going crazy. It's really communicating with her.
Well,
yeah.
yes, because some people are sensitive.
Yes,
And
mhm.
it's sometimes maybe, and this is just a theory, maybe sometimes spirits pick and choose.
Oh yeah,
they're going to talk
I
to.
like that person.
You know?
that person
I
reminds me
like
of
that
somebody
per-
I once knew.
She's
or,
always
you know,
here.
I see her a
I
lot.
see her, you know.
Yep.
And then given the
Yep.
given the chance to speak, now it's here.
I've had it happen, and I'm sure everybody sitting at this table tonight, everybody here tonight has had the same experience too. You'll be with someone, and sometimes you're seeing something, you're experiencing something, and the person you're with, nothing. They think you're nuts.
Yep.
Or the other way around. They're seeing something, they're hearing something, they're experiencing something. You say, "What are you talking about? There's nothing. I don't see anything." Right person, wrong person. You know,
Right.
it's just right time for that person, wrong
Exactly.
time for you. You know.
Like one time where I work, I heard these voices, and it seemed to be the left of me, but I knew that nobody was there.
And it
And
said,
then all
"Get
of a
back to work. Your break
Get
is
back
over.
to work.
Get back to work."
You're gonna get fired, man. And then you would hear certain things, but we really do truly enjoy what we're doing, though.
And that's what you have to do. You have to enjoy doing it. Yeah. In my case now, it's nice for me because I'm retired, and it's nice to have the luxury of time to be able to take my time with these things, and I don't have to do. I do a little part-time work that I have, that I go to, but it's nothing like working 3 jobs like I used to do before in my other life. Now it's nice to have the time to devote to these things and to do this and to kind of relax and do what I want to do.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have that luxury of time, which eventually everyone will experience. You're retired, aren't you, Tom? You still work? No, you still work.
I'm-
You still work, yeah.
I will be working till the day I die, I'm sure.
Now your day will come. You'll see. Pete.
To die?
You
Yes.
want- no, well, yeah, that too.
Yes,
Eventually,
yeah,
that
yeah.
happens to us too. Yeah. Tom Lineweber here. We got to get a few more words from you.
Well, I just wanted to comment on Neil hearing voices.
Okay, that's enough. Let's go to the next person.
That was good. Good job, Tom.
Neil hears a lot of voices, and I do question that, and we do work in the psych ward at the jail, so
And you
that
don't
might
hear him.
have a little something
You
to do
could be with
that.
him. You don't hear him. He hears him.
Yeah,
The word's not rubbing
so
off on you.
I'm
is
a
it?
little skeptical on his thoughts on that.
I did not say Neil the other day.
That's fine, man. Everybody has their own,
What does it sound like? What do the voices actually sound
Well,
like?
I don't really, to be honest
Are they
with you,
normal
I
human-
don't get like a whole bunch of voices or anything like that.
Bits and
It's
pieces?
a rarity.
Okay, I got to ask you now.
To be honest,
You
it's a
said
rarity.
Neil hears voices, and I'm with him, and I'm skeptical. So what do you think when he comes to and he says, I just heard somebody over here say, "Don't go around the corner." I just heard somebody
Is there
say
a
my name.
tonal
or say your
quality
name.
to it, or-
What do you?
My first reaction is always skeptical, but open-minded.
Okay.
So I like to hear all the facts and what was going on. Were you, forgive me for saying this, were you completely awake, Neil?
Yes, I was.
We were at work.
I was.
I've had people tell that to me too when I relate an experience to them. They say, "Did you dream it?" And I says, "No, I was wide awake. This was in broad daylight. This
Right.
wasn't, this wasn't at midnight on a stormy night."
Well,
or,
like yesterday,
yeah.
that what I'm telling you,
Yeah.
it was more like, Pete, it was more like a whisper in my right ear
Okay.
that I heard. And I was like, I thought it was him. I thought it was Steve.
No.
And I just go like this. I go, what? Because I think he's messing around.
So yeah, it's not a low volume.
It was more like
necessarily, but it
just
also is
exactly
a
how I'm doing
whisper
right now,
effect.
just like this. It said, Neil.
Okay.
And I'm like this. I'm like, all right, what? And then Bob heard what? I go, did you hear that? And he goes, yeah, I heard the word what. I go, that was me saying what? I go, but I thought it was Steve saying Neil, trying to be Mr. Funny Guy.
And so where are you actually when this is happening? You got
Crossing the
inmates
street. We were
locked up somewhere?
crossing
No,
hallway, or what's going
no.
on?
This has not happened where I work. Just,
Oh,
so
okay.
you know, other than that story I just told you, I remember that I heard everybody was sound asleep. I mean, when I'm telling you, this is the place I've been working, what I've been doing for 24 years.
Okay.
And I was at a place one time where guys are on the other side of the building, but you have to keep an eye on certain things. Everybody gets a little assignment, okay? The area that I was in was more where the weight room was, and there was nobody around. So then all of a sudden I heard a conversation going to my left, and I'm like this. I'm like, all right. So then I started to get up, walk around, wondering if something's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
Did someone walk away? So of course I'm going to get up, right? So then next thing I know is I go to the right, and I start going back, and now I hear it walk. Well, I didn't hear walking, but I hear the two voices again conversating to the right of me. Now I'm not saying I'm a sensitive or anything like that, because I highly doubt that. I think
we all are.
Oh, I think it all mirrors on the situation, like Bob was saying. I think we can interact with certain things. Like I've heard whistles.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a big believer in prayer and stuff like that. I'm a huge believer in prayer. I'm big
Power
about
of
that.
thought seems to be quite
Yeah.
interesting.
And when you put, what I do is, not everybody's the same way. When I put faith into something, and you ask for something, more than likely things do happen for you, but things do take a little time for it to happen. So.
I had an experience like this a couple of weeks ago where I live now. Now I live in an apartment complex that's for senior citizens, people 55 years and older.
Right.
So one time it was the afternoon, and we were all sitting around a table, and there were probably 6 of us there, and another lady, Ann, came in, and she was there before I got there, and then I came in, and they were all there. And we were actually waiting because we have like a little card club that we do there on Friday, and so we were waiting for that. The other people would leave, and then Ann and I would stay, and these other ones would come in, and we'd play cards. So we're sitting at the table, and everybody was talking, just kind of like we're doing right now, just sitting around the table talking and all that. And all of a sudden, I turned my head and cocked my head back, and she says, "Did you hear that too?" And I says, "Yeah." And she says, "I heard it." She says, "What was it?" And I said, "Well, it was footsteps, but it came from back here." And she says, "That's exactly what I heard." Now, nobody else heard this. And they're saying, "Oh, no, that came from outside." He says, "No, it didn't." I said, "There was something back here." I said, "She heard this and I heard this." Well, the two of us picked up on this. No one else did. And it was footsteps that were behind us, Afterwards, we talked about it, and she's a very sensitive person, too.
And that's why you want to have a witness for most of your things. Like
absolutely,
if one
yeah.
thing, let's say we're doing an investigation or something like that, one of the rules is that if something happens to one person, you're supposed to call in everybody else, see if they're hearing or seeing the same thing you're hearing. That way that helps your story.
Sure, it's more credible, right? Yeah, it's
right.
Nonetheless, you've experienced it, and regardless if somebody hears it or not, you know what you saw,
Yeah.
you know what you felt, you know what you heard,
Sure.
you know what you saw. I mean that's it. But it is nice when you have that backup. It's also nice when you have the film, or it's also nice when you have the
Yes.
recording.
Yes.
These things help
Take for instance,
tremendously.
when you talk about film of that Judy Huff picture.
Mm-hmm.
That's an amazing photo. I'm like, wow. And
Now, explain what that is. So for people that
that
don't
was in
know,
1991. One of the other
Yeah.
ghost.
Judy Huff.
I believe it's Dale Kaczmarek's.
Yeah, Dale.
Dale Kaczmarek's group. I've never met the man, so I don't know him. But she took the picture, and what I have the understanding is that the show, The Ghost Adventurers, they did do a complete analysis of that, and they said that picture is real.
oh yeah,
There is
I have
nothing
no
wrong
doubt.
with that picture.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to me. I mean, you were talking about this yesterday about the dress. It looked like more. Some people think it's like a wedding dress or something like that, but it looks more like somebody's a burial dress. Because why, Bob? The shawl that you saw.
It's a shorter dress. And I said, if it was a wedding dress, to me, many people have told me that.
Lavish.
Exactly. I says a Victorian wedding, it would have been very, there'd be a veil over the head. There'd be, it'd be very elaborate. There'd be a train. It'd be a long dress. And this thing almost looks like it's like a 3/4, like it doesn't go all the way down to the ground type thing. And it almost looks like the sleeves are like 3/4 sleeves or short sleeves on it too. And also too, you can very distinctly see the head and see like a short hair. You can't make out facial features.
Yeah,
but
and
you
it
can,
looks like a late photo from the 1800s.
Yeah.
I'd love to chime in, but I don't want to be a buzzkill.
No, please.
I know way too much about this backstory.
Please,
but
chime in. If you know something, please, by all the way. Cool.
It could take an hour. No.
No, make it simple.
I mean, generally speaking, I had some issues with it. I'm like Fox Mulder with this particular photo in X-Files. I want to believe, I really do. And how much time am I going to devote to this photograph?
Right.
Now, let's put the side story stuff. I don't want to make enemies yet. I already have enough of those with this field.
No. You're fine.
But they say, well, Kodak's saying, oh, it's a real person. It's casting a shadow. I'm sitting there thinking, well, yeah, it's a real person. It's not photoshopped. Okay. They say they used infrared film. I heard, but can't validate, they had an infrared filter. Now, if you go and look at the classic Sony X-ray effect, are you guys familiar with this?
No.
Where you go to the beach and look at people under their clothing?
No, we don't do that.
I'm just giving you
I'm
the
a little
basics here.
lost on that. When you go to you go to the beach, and
certain
look at people
wavelengths of
under
light
their
can go
clothing.
past your clothes and bounce back, and as long as you filter it on the lens a certain way, blocking those certain frequencies coming back, you're basically seeing through the clothes. Now, you can have that same effect. Now, if that lady's wearing a dress, long gown, now parts of her are transparent and parts of her are not.
Okay, but is this not something that you could detect? I mean, let's face it, this is 2017. It's not 1917. Experts at photography would be able to
could it
detect
be replicated?
Here's the biggest problem I have with this.
Okay.
I'm going to be such
I love hearing both sides of the story.
I'm
so
not,
I'm glad
this
he
is not
kind
going to go
of
over well.
yeah.
Dale Kasmerick is a great
Yeah.
friend. I've been at his house. I've ate his wife's food. I mean, I love the guy. He's great. But to me, this is very controversial. He never owned an original print off this negative. He had not. Have you ever seen the real print? Have you ever seen the widescreen view of the photo?
I thought Miss Huff had that the original.
Exactly, right?
Right.
Okay. So he never actually had a copy of this photograph. But he would talk about it. And I've been at his home. We've gone through his so-called archives, I guess you could call it. And he admits, no, I don't have a copy of this. But when the Sun-Times called and he got in contact and sent in the little snippet, what we normally would see back in the day was the woman sitting on the stone with the little tree, and that's all you had. Okay. You didn't have that wide shot where you see the fence of the cemetery in the corner and stuff like that. Now he sends it in, and he's supposed to be analyzing these photos, right? Well, why don't you ask for an original print? Now, how did I end up with an original print? I had a volunteer. We did cleanups at the Grove. Apparently, Jude was handing out copies of these. Okay, so that's how I ended up with it. She was somehow mad. So that's another story. How I got a copy.
You didn't have a copy.
Why
you had the?
Well, no, he gave me an actual, the actual print off the negative. These were constantly off the negative, so it's like not a copy of a copy. But I took it home, this right off the negative, put it on a flatbed scanner, made a 300 megabit, file out of this thing.
Okay.
So, but my point is, why didn't Dale not have, as an investigator, this full-fledged photograph? Okay. That was a red flag for me.
My question is, so what?
It is a big deal because he's supposed to be this investigator inspecting all these people's photos from around the world. They're emailing him stuff, consulting him, trusting him. Now, from a professional point of view,
he's written a book on spirit photography too.
and
Dale Kasmerick is a great guy. He really is.
He is a great guy. But I just had a problem with this. Why did you not have an original to analyze?
Well, there would. Let's face
and then here's where
there would
really
only be
upset me.
one. There would be only one original photo. It would be the original photo that
off
was
the
taken,
negative,
and that would be it.
Now
right.
I heard.
No. What?
I'm sorry, Pete. Go ahead.
No, I don't want to.
No, when I was watching the Ghost Adventurers, okay, they said that they had Judy Huff's original the original pic of that, and that's what they analyzed.
Okay,
and that's
you're probably talking about the one that I gave to them.
But they said that they
didn't even get it
Judy
from Dale.
Huff, but they said they got it from
That came
Judy
later.
Huff.
Are you talking about the Travel Channel Ghost
Yeah,
Adventures?
the
Right.
guys. Yeah,
Right. And
those
then there's
two
the
guys.
Aftershocks thing. Okay, remember there's two
Yeah,
different kinds.
exactly.
Okay. We're
And
not
they
going to
do-
talk about Aftershocks right now. That's a separate issue. But before that, their so-called excellent contacts. I have to say it was me. I gave them stupid phone numbers. It wasn't a big deal. So they contacted Dale. Jude didn't want to pick up the phone for anybody, not even me anymore. Okay, she was angry that I even had a copy of this photograph. It's a very controversial. This whole topic is very controversial.
But you're saying copy again. You keep saying copy. So
Well, I had to make a digital copy off of an original print from the negative.
right.
Okay, that's how I had to do it. I couldn't keep the photo. I gave it back to
A
the
digital
person.
copy off a print of the original negative. So right there, you're talking. Am I right? 4.
All I want to do is look at this thing.
Sure,
Okay,
sure.
That's fine.
Copies.
And who cares what I got? But why do I have a full, wide spectrum view of this photograph? And the guy who runs the organization, who's claiming partial rights to the photograph based on a contract with Jude, how they ran their group. But if he's analyzing these photos, why doesn't he have a why? That's fine. Jude only gave him this little snippet, and that's fine. But that's just is this turning into a moot topic? I don't know. What gets me though is that when he found out I had this photo, he added more to the story, which
Okay.
got interesting. Now I don't mean to. I'm not trying to debunk this photo. This is just why I have problems with it. If you go on my website, bachelorsrub.com, you can download this photo yourself, the original. If you actually look at the lady, there's actually a white box from some sort of defect in the process, whether it was the negative or not. And he mentioned this. So he had to take that out before he gave it to the Sun-Times. So people didn't think, he had to doctor a photo, so people didn't think this was a doctored photo.
Mm-hmm.
I have problems with this. I have serious problems with this. How
Okay.
much time do I need to devote to this photograph? Then I mean, like I say, I can add more and more and more, and I'm not going to sound like a good guy, but it's like there's too many problems with this.
Okay.
It's great that people are drawn to the cemetery, and it has a reality out there. There are real things going on out there that are absolutely amazing.
Definitely. You're absolutely right on that. But I think and once again, I don't know Mr. Dale Kaczmarek.
Okay.
I know,
Gentlemen, freeze that thought right there. We will take a break, and we'll come right back. This is getting great, folks. Stick with us. Come back.
You're listening to Paranormal Radio with Bob Trisek on Jack-O-Lantern FM 89.7, WRHS FM Norwich, and the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network on Tuesday, October the 3rd, year 2017. And now back to Paranormal Radio and Bob Trisek.
Okay, we are back on, and in case you have just tuned in, we'll reintroduce everybody that we've got sitting with us on the panel. Mr. Tom Cameron, Mr. Tom Lineweber, Mr. Neil Gibbons, Mr. Steve Lineweber, and Mr. Pete Crapia. And then, of course, myself, Bob Trazek. We've just been talking a little bit, in case you just tuned in here and you're kind of wondering where we're at with the show, or if you fast-forwarded your button to where we're at. We're talking about the very famous photo that was taken at Bachelor's Grove Cemetery. Everybody has seen this, of the lady in the white sitting on the stone, and we've kind of got some pro and con going on with this. And Pete's come up with some new theories about this, and that's kind of where we're at now. We're talking about that. Some things that he's not real comfortable with about that photo, and he's just been sharing his thoughts and his views on that and his findings on it. So, okay, Pete, continue where you're at.
Oh, really? Should I?
Well, you started now. You may as well
yeah,
finish.
I know I started it. But
Yeah.
Well, what I was going to say, I'm sorry, Pete.
No,
I'm sorry,
go on.
Is that I was saying before we went to break is that I don't know Mr. Dale Kaczmarek, but you also have to remember for every story there's always another story.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
And you don't have Mr. Dale Kaczmarek here today.
No.
And I'm not
He's not
saying
here
what
to
you- I'm
defend
not-
himself
He's
or
not
anything
here
like
to
that.
defend
No,
himself
he's
or
not.
anything like that.
Well, Mr. Kazmarek is the president of the Illinois division of the. Isn't he the president of the Ghost Finders? Yeah,
Ghost Research
Ghost Research Society. That's what it is.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ghost Research Society of Illinois. And I've had Mr. Kazmarek on this show a couple of times. He's always been a great. He'll come on it, right away. If you ask me, oh sure, let me check my calendar.
I'm
He'll come on for
sorry,
you.
Dale.
And then he also was on when I did the shows over at WAG. I had him over there too. So yeah, he's really into this, and he knows.
And I think that would actually be.
So
an
do you think
excellent
it's
show.
something now since he himself did not take the photo? Do you think he's just not aware of it himself?
That's what I wonder. Because, should I say this? But sometimes he was there for the event, and sometimes he's not in his stories when I've had it in private. So was he out there when the photograph was taken or not? Please. I when the story's not
but
even
see,
straight.
But see, one way or the other, would that matter?
Oh yeah.
Well,
Your
with the
story
pho-
changes. You
well,
were
the-
you
no,
were
no, with
either
the-
there
not
when
the
that
pho-
photograph was taken, and you can vouch nobody was sitting on that
Okay,
stone.
if he said he was there, that's one thing. If he didn't,
But then he goes and says he wasn't there because these are private conversations I've had with him.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. And I don't want to have to divulge that. Honestly, I wanted to wait until he
Well, you
passed
just
away.
did.
I know I have, and I've already done this a little bit with my own side videos that I've done on the Grove, on like memories of the Grove. If people go back and listen to some of this stuff, they can
Okay, so
start to
your
put it
feeling
together.
on it is that the photo has in some way been altered or doctored.
I don't think it's his fault.
Yeah. Okay.
No, he's not here to defend himself.
Okay, but one thing
I
about this is, what would the motive be? What would the person's Judy that
Well-
took the photo? Now she's never made any money off this. has she?
actually, she did now.
Okay.
See, that was one of the issues. We knew after a while, based on what I've found out on the side, that she was upset initially because there was a popularity factor. She wanted to be popular about this thing. And then there was a money factor that got involved. Now Dale's making all this money selling books and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And
but
she was a
he's
little,
been doing-
she was a little, she felt a little it rubbed her the wrong way. So when Travel Channel called, and I told him I didn't want to go on the show, and I didn't want to tell him exactly why, but I did some consulting with them. And I said, look, I tried to get this lady to do an interview. I want to find out more about this. She's being very elusive. She doesn't want to touch the media. It looks like she just wants to get paid. So I tell you what, if you guys got the money, you need to pay her. And they said, oh, we got the money. We'll get her. And they sure enough did. When they got this interview, it was ridiculous to me. She talked about being molested by a ghost. It wasn't really nothing about the actual photo, in my opinion. Aftershocks may have been a little bit different with this whole thing, but no, I don't. I mean, what's the benefit? I mean, obviously, to some degree, it was a lot of advertising. That photograph. Hell, when I started,
See, the thing that I'm a little
getting
confused.
involved.
If I can just stop you for just one moment here, is I'm a little confused as to why someone would go to the extent that they would go through to fake a photo like that. No, just a minute, Pete. Just 1 second. Number one,
is
the
it fake
photos-
though?
Well, you're kind of saying that. You're saying it's
I'm
altered in
thinking it
some
was
way.
passed off. I'm not
Okay.
saying it wasn't
Well,
put
what
into
do
a
you mean by,
Photoshop.
well, then
wasn't
let me
it
ask you to explain what you mean by passed
I think
off.
it was a real person sitting on a stone and looked pretty damn cool.
Well, then it's faked.
Well, it was passed off as a real thing, creating a hoax,
Okay. But
if that's the case.
if she took the trouble to go through that and do that, which she didn't.
I don't
whatever.
think it was a staged operation.
Why would
I
you?
think it
Why
was
would
just
you
a
put
moment.
that photo out everywhere? I mean, where everybody has access to it, and it's all over.
Well,
it's all over
I've
the
run
internet,
into a
it's
lot of
everywhere.
people.
I mean,
People
it's
that have their
public,
different motives.
Everybody,
but,
I use that in my presentation.
if you want to
that photo up
impress,
there, I always give Dale because meritocratic. I always give them. I says, it was taken by his group. They took it, and I did not know the lady's name. Now I do actually had her. One of the tours I did with the South Central Stickney Park District, she was actually on the bus, and she says, "I'm the lady that took that photo,"
Sure.
and that kind of thing like that. And I didn't really take the time to connect with her then because I was busy with the tour.
She
and
gets
that.
around now, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
I have a question, Bob.
Sure, go right ahead. Yeah.
How many people were there that did? Do you know it all?
I can't even get a correct number. Like I say,
Right.
the stories
Okay.
change.
Okay.
Why
Well,
does the story
Because
change?
the reason why I'm asking, Bob, is
You're either
because if
there or
this-
not.
Right. Is if it happened in 1991, okay?
It's been a while.
It's been a while. Somebody loosens their lips about
Exactly.
something.
Some years, and what
They
were we
just
talking
do.
about?
Yeah, I've heard
How we
rumors.
said these things
Yeah.
start and people add to it, take away from it, this and that and the other. You know, there might have been 4 people out there. Next time you know, you talk to us, there were 15 people out there, all claiming to be there when the photo was taken. Who knows? You know.
Yeah. If
I can't give you a correct number. I
Yeah.
should be
That-
able
that's
to give you a
fine.
correct number, and I can't.
Okay.
Were you there?
I will take notes.
Were
as
you-
I'm with
were you
the-
there when
No,
it was
was
taken?
I technically no?
Then-
That's
then
what
how could you
what I'm trying to
then
find
how
out.
could you give a correct number?
Because Dale was supposedly there.
Okay, and he can't give a correct number.
Because sometimes he was there and sometimes he wasn't.
Okay, so we're not certain if he was there or not.
So which is it?
Okay.
Sounds like a Chicago bus accident. You know, there were 3 people on the bus when the
Hey, a
bus
photo-
got hit,
And
and
they're laying
then
out there in their
14 people are
pajamas. Yeah,
14
yeah,
people
they
are
come
in
out of
the
their
house.
house, yeah,
Right,
yeah.
Sure.
This photo actually exists.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't think it was photoshopped.
Yeah,
Like, you know, when you look at the original, just because there's a little white square
you got to
out.
give me the look here, Steve. What do you got to say about some
No,
of this?
I'm just creeped out about the people at the beach looking at with
Oh,
their
the
camera.
X-ray effect? Yeah.
That's the creepiest thing I heard all day.
Oh, this is great. This is great. Travel
Go ahead.
Channel. Travel Channel. I did not want to go on their
This
show,
one's gonna
right?
get fun, Bob.
Turns out I had to do a little cameo on there by accident.
Uh-huh.
So there's another guy out there who owns a Bachelor's Grove website. And at the time, we were friendly. As you can see, I don't make too many friends later on because I open my mouth. But so he's out there doing infrared photography.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a nature guy, so I walk up to this one tree, and I see something invasive growing on it. So I just kneel down, and I look at it, and then I lean forward more. But I'm hearing a camera shutter going on. You can hear time lapse.
Okay.
And I stand up, and I look over there, and there's this guy's camera. It's actually John Stevenson. He's in this episode of the Travel Channel. And I turn to him, I go, "Oh, I'm sorry, I interrupted your photographs." He's like, "Oh, that's fine." I go, "You might want to delete those because I'm going to look like a ghost." Now, fast forward years later, I think he just completely forgot. Because he starts talking about these photos on a podcast, and then Travel Channel comes along, and he actually gives them these 2 photographs. So here I am at this special party, watching this episode of Travel Channel, all these people around, and this part comes up. And I remember this. And it's me in the photo. And I look like a ghost. I actually look like a ghost
Do you-
in two of these frames. And the guy next to me goes, "It kind of looks like you, don't it?" I didn't want to say anything.
When you
I'm
say,
waiting for other
when you
people to say
say
something.
ghost,
He
what
just
you-
passed off a photo. He thought he had a picture of a ghost.
Well, all right.
But this is an infrared photo that looks like a ghost.
Like if it was like a person from a throwback era. Is
No,
what you're
it's
kinda
just
saying?
me.
Or was it like there was like a kind of a blur?
No, there
like
was
a haziness in the photo.
No, it's
Or-
fairly clear. It is. It's fairly clear.
Do you see why I got to have
You'll
you?
have to see the
Pete,
photo.
do you see why I got to have you come on and
It was
do a
good
whole
enough
show,
to put
Pete?
on the show.
So he put it on the show.
Sure.
But how? I just don't understand that one, to be honest with you, because if it's a clear photo of some, how many years ago did it happen?
I'm a little confused.
Well, I
with
could
this
give
one
you the
too.
exact date. I
Please.
actually got my tab.
No,
I could
just
probably
what
pull it
year,
up.
just off your head.
I mean, off my when was the Travel Channel episode? So then 3 years before that, maybe 2 years. I forget.
Okay.
I'll have to,
the
the timeline could be
it's
screwed
still
up, but
fairly new, yes.
But it was enough to where I think he made an honest mistake, and
Okay.
because he's talking about how
Why
I
would
called
you, Pete? You've been invited to go on these shows. Why have you declined going on them? Just
because I
you
know
don't believe
no
in
because
them?
no,
or-
oh, God, no, well I know some of them fake stuff,
Okay,
and I don't want to be a part of that.
but if you go on there, wouldn't you be able to give your views like you're doing now? And make your
Yes.
views
Oh,
a little more
so here's
known?
another problem. So
Or
I
do
don't
you,
I don't
or
go
do you
on
think they
there.
would just edit you
I
out?
still
or-
try to help them.
Okay,
I will still try to help.
all right.
So like with the Travel Channel, you've seen the episode where they had the cops around the area and they saw a ghost light.
What show was this? Which
The,
one?
the same Travel Channel episode with
Are you talking Ghost Adventures?
Ghost Adventures, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
please.
yeah. So it's like, yeah, I didn't go on the show, but I told them, I got worried one day. They called me up and wanted more information. And I'm like, you might run into problems with kids coming and interrupting you. Because I've been back there on legal permits, people doing documentaries, with a cop there. And the kids still come out of the woods with flashlights.
Now, I have to stop
And-
you right there. I'm sorry, Pete. Is that I know of what they do on certain things like that. They set up a perimeter.
Well, who does? Who are you talking
The
about?
police
Cook County
officers-
Sheriff's.
The Cook County Sheriff's Department.
Okay,
sets up
normally
a
they
perimeter.
don't. They usually
Well,
only
of course,
require one
because-
officer around $60 an hour to,
Right.
have there.
No. What they did is because they knew it was that show, that they set up a perimeter.
I
of
told them to
officers
do that.
on
That's
the
my point I'm
south.
getting
Oh,
at.
I'm not saying
Right.
again, but when you bring into the fact that there might be kids or something like that, they probably did the south, the west, and the east. I mean, well, actually, the south and the west and the north of the area. They probably set up a perimeter.
That
Why?
right.
Because of probably insurance purposes, maybe.
Yeah,
Because
but
they have probably
watch
those
this
guys inside
timeline.
there.
Okay,
this is
before
what
we go
makes
any
me
further,
suspicious.
I want to know what happened to the original question.
Okay.
What-
I
which
asked you, I
question
says,
is that?
why did you decline going on these shows?
Because I knew, based on experience with people on the side, that this particular show does still fake stuff, and other shows do too.
Well, they're shows. They have to sensationalize to
You
do
know
that,
what? I
yeah.
want no part of it that way. I
Yeah,
will
but-
help you. I will help you gain evidence if that's what it means. I'll tell you where to go if that's where
Yeah,
I
but
feel.
see, you kind of, excuse me for saying it, but you're kind of contradicting yourself
How
there.
so?
I won't go on the show, but yet I'll help them.
Meaning, I will
Well,
point you in the right direction, but I'm not going to.
If you feel
because
that
I
way
knew
about
it
the
was
show,
going
you
to turn
just have
into a
nothing
circus.
to do with it. You
I
just have
knew
nothing
part
to
of
do
it
with
was
it,
gonna
and you're
turn
out of
into-
it.
I don't want to be a part of that circus.
I would say honest labor of love, right?
Mine is.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what you're saying.
Yes,
Basically,
it
is
is.
that you don't mind talking to people about it.
No, not at all.
But you just
Yeah.
don't want, if all of a sudden you're in something and you feel it's fake, you just don't want a part of it.
No, I
So-
want nothing
right,
to do with
exactly.
that.
But see, that's
Right.
that's what I was saying, and I'm not picking on you.
No,
I
it's
know
not-
you're
I
not
don't want you.
picking
I don't
on
want you
you.
to feel that
No.
way.
No,
I
throw
don't
it
want
at
you-
me. Go for it.
Yeah, no, I don't want you to feel that way. But like, all right, I don't want to be on the show because what they're doing is not right, and they're faking things.
Some shows I do go
But
on.
yet I serve as a consultant, and I do give them information. Well, if you feel that I don't want to do this because it's a fake.
Well, I
whatever,
wanted to see
I would
Jude
just-
be
I would-
interviewed,
I would want
so I'm
nothing-
going to provide them a phone number.
I would just say no. I want nothing to do with your show, and I'm through with it, and that's it. I don't want to contribute to it. I don't want to be on it. Nothing. I'm through
I
talking
don't-
to
I
you.
don't
That's
tell
it.
them that.
Why go halfway with them and say yes? I'll give you information, but I don't want to be on that because I don't believe in it. If you don't believe in it, you just don't believe
I
in it.
don't
and
tell
that's
them
it.
why I don't go on.
Yeah.
I mean, I think initially with them, all I told them was that I didn't want to go on because there was going to be a certain person I knew was going to be there, and I didn't want to be around them. I kept
Mhm.
it more pleasant that way. And that turned out to be John Stevenson with the whole photograph he put up of me as a ghost. He didn't know it was me, but or whatever. But that's the kind. I don't want to be involved in that. I knew John actually had some real
What have you got to say
experiences.
about all of this?
John actually has some real stuff, but he also fakes material and he also makes mistakes, and I wanted nothing to do with him.
Okay.
Tom, you want to chime in?
See, I know John Stevenson also,
There you go.
and that what you're telling me doesn't surprise me at all.
Okay.
He was at a number of our paranormal conferences. In fact, he at the paranormal conference that Bob and I were at. He was showing the pictures of you.
Oh,
Yeah,
that one.
Oh yeah.
Next to the tree, kneeling down, huh?
Yes. Yes.
Now, that's,
that was,
see, but I have a question here. Is the pictures that they're showing him? How is it that he's passing off as a ghost?
because
Doesn't
it's
it look
taken-
weird?
Because it's taken in infrared. It doesn't look like a standard photography.
Okay.
Most people are not used to looking at infrared photography. You know,
Okay,
so
fair
so it
enough.
has an odd appearance to it to begin with. It does not have clear outlines. It's a fuzzy outline again because it's picking up
So-
the heat.
But there are
signature.
back-to-back photos to show you the position of the
Right.
body
So would you
changing,
say that-
and that's where it really pops out.
Pardon me, Pete.
Sorry.
What? No, you're good. So are you saying then that maybe also that photo could be almost looking just like the Judy Huff picture of 1991?
Well, the difference is that Judy Huff's photo, the only ones that I've ever seen are in black and white. You know,
Right.
this one has has a color tinge to it, so you have that aspect of it. But
She had a better camera.
I was going
Yeah.
to say,
I know his setup. Compared
and-
to that, she had a much better camera.
and the lines on that photo seem far more distinct than the ones that than the ones that apparently you're in, Pete.
His was more of a false infrared type of situation going on. And,
Okay, and
and
before
he
we-
had to be out of focus.
Before we go
to make
any
the camera
further
work.
with
It's
any
another
of this, I
explanation.
just would like to say, now a couple of names have been thrown out here, and I usually don't like to do this because I like to stay on a friendly basis with
I
everybody.
know.
Dale Kazmarek, you've been on the show a few times, and you're always welcome to come back on. He is going to be at the LSIP Library, which I would go and listen to him talk. He's going to be there on the 26th talking at the LSIP Library, giving a lecture and all that. So if you do have some of these questions, maybe you want to show up there when he's giving his lecture and
You
maybe
know,
present him on
I
that.
do have one thing to say about
I
that.
will. I
I've
won't be
never-
there because I'm doing a talk over
Right.
at the Orland Park
I've
Library.
never- I've
However, I just would like
Dale
to. I
will
just
know
would-
not to hold this against
No, I
you.
just would like to
Dale's
say,
taking a
Mr.
lot of
Kazmarek,
slack,
you're welcome
so.
to come back on here if you want to come back on Paranormal Radio. If you hear this broadcast and defend yourself, Judy Huff, also too. If you would like to come on and say something in your defense about this, you're welcome to come back on. And then Mr. John Stevens, his name has been thrown out here too. And if you would like to come on the show and kind of defend yourself on this, because we like to. Get
I would enjoy that.
everybody's
think-
opinions.
I don't know
yeah.
if I'll need to be here, but I
Yeah.
will if I'm asked to.
You know, and the
Mhm.
one thing I was going to say about Mr. Dale Kazmarek is I've never met the man.
Mhm.
Okay, I was just saying, hey, got to
Yeah.
give that two-sided thing on this, all right? Because
Yeah.
the videos I've seen of the man, of Dale Kazmarek, I'm sorry if I keep saying the name for you.
Mm, that's
but
all right.
the thing is that he seems like a very knowledgeable man.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
yes, yeah,
right.
And
yeah.
you know, I've enjoyed some of the videos that he's had on the YouTube.
Oh yeah. Mhm.
I from what I've seen him, I think he's a very knowledgeable man.
Mhm. I've seen some of your.
I just
I've seen
nitpick
some
at
of
the
your
whole
two stuff, Pete,
process.
too.
Okay,
I watched some
that's
of them
all I
today.
do. And I just have little problems when I'm just investigating stuff myself, getting to the bottom of a story.
Sure.
Okay,
Have you tried replicating the photo yourself with the knowledge you have, Pete?
I've replicated.
Would you be interested in doing it?
I want to do a further. Yeah, I want to do a full one. I've actually been working on making sure I could before I even talked about it. But hey,
What are
cat's out
some of the
bag.
challenges you have with replicating it?
There shouldn't be much. It's just money. Just buying the right filters. That's all. Modifying the camera in a
I
certain
say
way.
we
Maybe.
set up a date.
Sounds
Yeah.
reasonable.
I believe
There's
in
the still
replicating,
photography, and then there's the video stuff. You know what I
Right.
mean? But it's modifying my old camera to get.
Now,
I'm
would
just a
this
little
have to be
confused.
done in the
I'm just a
evening?
little confused. and
Oh,
baffled
you
like
want
that.
broad daylight?
It would be. This was done in
Oh,
broad
you
daylight.
want
the
Photo was
original.
taken in
preferably
broad
you
daylight,
want
yeah.
sunny
Okay.
sunshine.
Okay.
Yeah.
The photo was taken in broad
I,
daylight. Yeah.
I think your idea and concepts are interesting,
Okay.
and I think that what it needs to have happen is, proof.
Sure.
Can it be faked? Then, do that.
I
Fake
don't
it.
like using the word fake, but okay.
Well, I would say replicate
Okay.
the photo, the circumstances, and put the
If
theory,
that's how it all went
the
down.
hypothesis to the test. Yeah. I think that's an interesting way to go about.
Good point. Very well taken
yeah.
point. Yeah. Yeah, I like that idea.
I say we do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We find out.
That photo
someday,
was
we all get together and do
taken.
it.
What year
I'm
did you
cool
say
with
it was taken? 1990.
91.
91. It's fairly recent. Like I said.
Now, one of the
science.
issues you're going to have is finding true 35 mil infrared photography. You want to go that far, okay?
I'm sure we'll find it.
But I'm just
We need
saying,
a list
and,
of
and then being
what-
able to develop it
There's
in a
somebody
proper
with it.
way,
Yeah.
okay?
Right.
To do it at home costs even more money.
Well, then we're gonna.
And what
you
you're
wanna know-
trustworthy more at home than you
I-
are at a shop.
I think we should do it by the same process that person did, and we'll ask
Mm-hmm.
them what was the process that you did it. The only reason why is not to knock them down and
Of course
say
not. No,
that's
yeah.
not the point.
Mhm.
We just, as investigators into things like this, of course you want to debunk it. But if all of a sudden you find something legit and you can't explain,
I hate that word.
There
by
you
the
go.
way.
Then
Then we got
wonderful.
something here.
Yeah.
Exactly.
wonderful.
Yeah.
And I like it when you find something legit.
See, I always thought that this thing was kind of tried and true, and it was proven, and nobody could find
That's
anything
what I
wrong with
thought
it.
too,
and,
but I'm listening to
I
people.
sit
But I'm
back
hearing
and I
a
watch
whole
all
other
the shows
theory
say
here.
that, and I'm like, no explanation.
I just think
There's a very plausible explanation.
well, it's a great idea, and I think it just stops short of proving that this is how it could be done. And I think that's what has to happen.
So
Yeah, sure.
yeah,
I agree.
I'm up for it. You know, am I going to throw my money at it? Maybe.
I think this would be great for an episode of Mythbusters, actually. It'd be a great
Yeah,
episode.
see, I like a Mythbusters.
I
Yeah,
don't want to make the Grove look like it doesn't have any real stuff going on
But
at
you
the
want
same
also-
time.
I'm
But
sorry.
at the same time, no, I do want to.
you want to at
bottom.
least give the truth.
But
to
I
people.
like Dale.
Yeah.
I
There's
do.
no-
I really like Dale. I did not want to.
I don't
Okay,
think.
it
I don't
happened
think. I
tonight,
don't
but,
think the
you know,
kindness that you have for Dale has anything to do.
No,
with
not at all. No,
us
no.
finding out the truth about something. Just like if I want to find out the truth about a crime or something like that, it has nothing personal, and you shouldn't think of it as that personal.
But at the same time, believers or non-believers, what's it really going to prove if we do this? And it turns out 100% the same.
Well,
Well, that's kind of interesting,
Because
and I
you-
think that
It's just that's what it's
if
gonna
we
be,
can't
right?
replicate it, then I
Interesting.
would say that
Hey.
it's still unknown.
it's unknown.
I would
And
say
to-
that that returns us back to, well, there's more to the story. That it's not solved, that we don't have the answer, but maybe we do. And I think that, the only thing, if you're committed to the truth, the
I am.
only thing, the
And
next
you brought
logical
this up.
step
You brought
is
it up.
to,
Yes, I did bring
Right.
it up.
So
the next logical
we
step
wanna
would be
work
to
with you.
replicate it, right?
Yeah.
So yes,
Yeah,
yes, it would be.
It'd be really cool.
But
I think
I,
it'd be
you know,
awesome.
I would have done it a long time ago, but I wasn't going to go try to find 35 mil infrared films,
Leave it
spend
to
all
us.
that money.
We'll figure it out.
When my gut's telling me, oh, I can replicate it, of course. I mean, you can replicate. If you can replicate it with video, easy enough.
But replicate it with the
You know what I mean?
technology that was available at the time.
Back then, which
Well,
is
we're
even
not
better.
talking
which
about
is
an
definitely
80-year-old or 100-year-old photograph. We're
I
talking
would like to
something
go back to
20
the
years
original
ago or
equipment.
30
Tech,
years.
tech changes
We're
pretty
talking-
quick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Look at how many iPhones they keep having. But
Can't
still
do it
they
with the
just ask for a
iPhone,
phone.
and we cannot use this at the beach.
No.
Okay.
I would.
Well, how would it be? All right, technology now is better, right? Photographs are better.
Mm.
Photographs are more real. How about if you try to replicate this with something available now, something state-of-the-art that we have now?
I'm willing to say you could do it both ways.
I say you do 3 different kinds of pics of 3 different kinds of machines,
Yeah.
of photographic cameras, and let's see what happens.
I see. I'm just a little confused with the fact that why someone would take the trouble to take a photograph like this, make it public, put it out there all over the internet, put it all over everywhere. It's public, this and that and the other. Not really make any money on it, although he says that she has made money on
My
it.
gut says
But
Dale
not to
wasn't
do this.
there, and she took the photo herself. And
Okay.
and he passed it off, took her word
Well,
for
apparently
it.
nobody
Because he
won
seems
millions
to
of
really
dollars off
believe this is the real deal.
He put it in his book.
No, I really
it's
believe
in his book
he
on spirit
believes that.
photography.
I just saying I'm finding discrepancies in the story. There's holes. There's the whole white thing, taking that out before it hits the Sun Times, and only telling me that after you find out I got a copy of or whatever. I got.
And you know what I would recommend, Bob, is just leave it at that and wait
yeah.
for Mr. Dale
Yeah.
Kaczmarek to come in here and go ahead. If he wants to come on your show and give us his side of the story, please, by all means.
Yeah, and like I said, he will be at the Elsip Library on the 26th, so he's out there to reach. So if you're free on the 26th, he'll be there at talking, so you can,
Have a fist fight?
No, not at all. Absolutely, no, not at all. No, not at all. It doesn't.
I already
no.
have enough issues with the Grove
Yeah,
and
no,
everything. But,
no.
yeah.
Well, in any case, we do the most fun haunted pub crawl.
Yes.
I might throw
Let's make
that
it
out.
fun.
Yes, everybody,
heck
plug,
yeah.
everybody, plug your tours again and stuff. You've got the 13th tour coming up.
Right. Well,
You're actually doing them on the Fridays and the Saturdays.
We might actually have this Saturday. I did receive some
Ah.
phone calls today, which is awesome.
Okay.
We are booked. We're sold out on the 13th to 14th. We're almost booked on everything except the 27th. There are still openings on the 20th and 21st and the 28th, and I do recommend coming on the ones on either the 27th or the 28th. The reason why is you're getting dressed up. We are going to give away a $50 gift card. I love going to the end where we go to Chet's Melody Lounge, where there's Rich and Barbie, nicest people I've ever met.
Yeah, they're very nice
His
people.
wife goes and makes you food, and the meatloaf there is unbelievable. And they're just very down-to-earth kind of people. And Rich invited us to come back to do an investigation sometime later after our tours, which we're hoping to be able to take up with him. So with that being said, we want you to come out, and we do promise you a very
And
good
give them the
time.
phone number where they can get a hold of you to
Yeah.
do one of the tours
It
there.
would be Graveside Tours
Mhm.
at 708-533-3073. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, Bob. Give us a call.
He answers the phone. He'll take your tour.
You can also find us on Facebook, and you can take a look at that video we made.
Let them know the cost of that, too, what you're charging for these
It
tours.
is $40 for an up to 4-hour tour. We do have other bars on board. We do take you to places. We also do play the game Split the Pot, so that there's always going to be another cash winner as well. And we do take the other money, and we try to order you some food at the Irish Legend, which is one of our stops, so that you do not have to have a big out-of-pocket cost. We try to keep all the costs down for you.
There you go. Come on the 13th and come on the 28th. I'd love to see it because I'm going to be on those 2 tours, and I'm maybe doing a little bit of the tour.
We're going to love to have you, Bob.
A little bit here and there. I'll be doing a little bit of the tour there, yeah. So I'll be on the... It's his tour, but he's having me on as a guest, which I appreciate, and I'm very grateful for that because I enjoy doing this. And I'm just going to be on the tour doing a little bit of the tour, little snippets of it here and there, whatever he allows me to do. Or wants me to do.
Sit down, Bob.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. Tom, go ahead, give us your...
If
this is
you
Tom
know,
Cameron.
If you know of anybody that has had abduction experiences, or if you've had an abduction experience, please contact us through the website abductiondna.com.
Tom Lineweber, what have you got to say about this? You've been kind of silent.
Actually, Tom Cameron here with MUFON. I have a theory about sleep paralysis because I've actually experienced it myself. Has that ever been brought up as possibly alien abduction?
Yes, absolutely, but sleep paralysis doesn't usually give you scars.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Now, what
How
kind of
about
scars did you, if you don't mind
Yeah.
me asking?
Well,
Alright, he's
end
showing
up with
some
the-
stuff here
yeah,
on his
I
arm.
end up with scoop marks all over my little body.
Now,
Going down
here's
to
a
his
question
leg.
for you. Do we have enough time, Bob?
Go ahead.
I just
Yeah.
got a question for
Yes.
you. What about people when they say that they're tagged? You know, like there's these little, like almost like very minute plastic,
Implants.
almost the size of
Yes.
size of a rice.
Right.
That is supposed to be plastic inside them,
They're-
or unknown.
Most of them
origin.
turn out to be unknown types of materials. Many of them are radio sensitive, where they actually are giving out electromagnetic signals. There have been, I believe, the doc has 26. The doctor that was doing it.
You talking about Roger Lear?
Roger Lear, yeah. He has 26 samples. He's passed, but now Daryl Sims has been doing some of the surgeries. Yeah, it's. I have never found any implantations in myself.
Okay.
Hope I don't ever.
I hope not either.
I'm not sure how I would react to that. So.
All right. I just thought I'd ask.
This has been very interesting, gentlemen. I thank you all. Mr. Pete Crapia?
Thank you.
Carpia. No,
Crapia.
Crapia. I said it right the first time. Crapia. I had it right. Steve Lineweber,
Neil
Neil Gibbons, Tom Lineweber, Tom Cameron. Gentlemen, thank you all for coming on.
Thank
Pete,
you.
what November Monday would you like?
Pick a day. Just pick
You
whatever
tell
you
me.
want.
Would you want Monday the 13th?
How about them all? No, just
Well-
no, whatever you want.
Now the Pete show.
open. So,
All right, I tell you what, we'll do Monday the 6th.
works.
Same bat time, same bat channel,
Yep.
Monday the 6th. By then I will be 1 year older because my birthday is November 5th.
Well, I'll be sure to tell you
We're
happy
gonna have to
birthday.
come
Yeah.
here with a
Happy
cake.
birthday.
Thank you, gentlemen, for all coming on. It's been interesting. I love this. And like I said, the folks that were mentioned on here, Judy Huff, Dale Kazmarek has been on here before, so he knows he's welcome to come back anytime he would like to. Welcome to come back on. Mr. John Stevens, your name was mentioned here, so if you do want to come on Paranormal Radio here and just say something in your defense, some of the things that were said here and that about you and that.
I would encourage that.
Also,
they do.
please understand that the views mentioned here and expressed by people
They're
here are
strictly
not,
my own.
yes, and they're not views of the station or people here or that kind of thing like that. It's not what we do. So these things kind of come up that way like that, and they're just personal views of the guests. We like to give everybody the opportunity to say what they want to, and we certainly got that tonight. Also, don't forget to listen to this broadcast, Jack FM 89.7 in Jack O'Lantern, and then at Christmas he goes to Jack Frost.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
So it's Jack O'Lantern FM for the month of October, 89.7. This broadcast will be heard tomorrow at 10:30. What is it? 10:30 tomorrow morning. You'll hear this on Jack FM 89.7. And then John Chikanda, our producer, has been doing wonderful work. He's been posting them up. Sometimes it took him like till Wednesday or Thursday, but lately he's done them very fast. He'll post them up really quickly. Go to YouTube Paranormal Radio and just punch up the date, today's date that we're broadcasting. Well, it should be tomorrow's date is what he'll have on it, and it'll pop up. So it will be 10-3, there you go. Thanks. I just blanked out there for a second, and you knew that. So 10-3, Paranormal Radio, or punch my name up, Bob Trzeciak, Bob, last name Trzeciak, and the shows will pop up. Also, too, you can listen on the Windy City Network, www.windycityhometown, all one word, windycityhometown.com. Don't forget to listen to the Windy City Network for all the other shows they got going on. Meet the Chicago Historians. They got a great panel of wonderful history-loving folks that talk about just every aspect of what goes on in the city of Chicago historically. The Donna Storts, Paranormal Radio, yay, that's me. Chicago Junction, all about Chicago railroading and just railroad history in particular. A lot of the Chicago historian people come on the Chicago Junction show. The Armchair Experts, and Wealth and Wisdom, and as well as all the other musical shows and stuff that John posts up on the Windy City Network. So, my gosh, thank you, gentlemen. I can't thank you all enough for coming on. It's been a pleasure to meet all of you. Again, I should say, we got reacquainted and have you all come on, and hope no one had any problems finding it, and you're all welcome to come back anytime you'd like, so the invitation's open. Anytime you want to come on, you let me know. John DeVita, sir, thank you for letting me do these shows. It's a joy to come here once a month and do these. It's a pleasure. Bye-bye, folks. Thank you all. Have a wonderful Halloween season, and we'll be back on November 6th with
Pete Crapia.
Pete Crapia's coming back. Okay.
Happy Halloween.
Yeah, there you go. Don't forget to go on some of these tours. Thank you, folks. Bye-bye.
You have been listening to Paranormal Radio with Bob Trzeciak from the John DeVita Broadcast Center and the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network and Jack-O-Lantern 89.7 WRHS FM Norwich. Paranormal Radio was directed by John DeVita, and our special thanks to radio station manager Kevin Zeflik of WRHS FM Norwich and the executive producer of Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network, Mr. John Secondo. This broadcast was pre-recorded on Monday, October the 2nd, the year 2017. Until next time, friends, please be safe and thanks for listening. And this is Jack-O-Lantern 89.7 WRHS FM, Norwich, Illinois.